erosion more out of control, and I would love to watch him play at this speed for 18 or 72 holes. I think he would play. I think he would drive it better. I think he would iron it better.
You know, I mean, a player will leave the driving range with some sort of a memory of what we're trying to do, you know, and it's, I think, the most natural thing Tiger has ever done in his life is swing a golf club, and he's made it unnatural with all the different instructors.
It comes down to a lot of rhythm and tempo, and we don't hear much of that in teachings anymore. You still have to match up at impact.
Tiger coming up in a couple of groups. This earlier at the first in Matsuyama. Jump ahead to 11.
Difficult bunker shot for our leader, David Lingmerth.
Looks like he made it to the middle of the bunker, Sean, which might help a hair. Well, that sounded good. Oh, my, what a shot.
So the first two shots at one. Here was Dustin Johnson's.
From 92 yards, almost too close.
That's one of the interesting parts to watch during the practice rounds. Players judging how far balls are rolling out in the fairway. At 3.
Bubba's bid for birdie. Slides past, still have that for par. Back to the first. 3 great looks for birdies.
And Dustin goes first.
And par now out of the hill bunker for Lingmerth. His first bogey of the Open Championship. Hard in 29, par at 10. Need to make about a 5-footer for that. Back to 1.
And Jordan Spieth to begin with a 3.
Fairly flat putt, not much there. Dustin Johnson missed his. Jordan Spieth taking off just where he should.
So composed, Jordan Spieth is, he's authentic, he's strategic, he's just easy to embrace. You gotta like the guy.
All the talk and all the attention would be too much for many. It does not seem outwardly that's been too much for him during his time here. You see a little bit of the way that St. Andrews sets up. It's 1, then they'll walk back a little bit to the second tee, and you go out of town for those early holes, and we'll watch Johnson, Spieth, and Matsuyama do just that. And Matsuyama begins with a birdie as well. And then they get up to the loop area of the golf course, 7 through 11, where the winds can kind of blow you a little bit off kilter because they're coming from a different direction than those first 6 holes. And usually, if it's the prevailing wind, which it is for the moment here, then you start fighting that wind on the way in. So we continue out at the second, Paul.
Let's take a look at the second hole, Mike. Long par 4, playing downwind today. It's a blind tee shot to the players. It's only really blind once. Once you know what's out there, you're good to go. Trying to avoid the Chiefs bunker on the left. Be difficult, if not impossible, to get on the green from there. It's 300 yards off the tee. Huge landing zone, Mike. And a green that's actually fairly tricky. Bunch of humps and mounds, but the hole's cut in the back right portion. It's on 19. 15 from the right. The mounds shouldn't really come into play there. If you hit a decent tee shot, you should be able to carry those mounds, and the greens are holding nicely.
And Curtis says they call it number 2.
Well, as you said, Paul, blind tee shot, but they know where the Chiefs bunker is, and that's the one place you have to avoid. Most of the players will lay up. It's 304 to that bunker. There you see the target line. 290 yards would be perfect. What a start for him. Birdie first. Couldn't have scripted a better start.
The breeze blowing from right to left brings that bunker into play a bit more.
Boy, I bet you the last 3 days have seemed like an eternity. Paul, for Jordan, but now he's finally off on the golf course and then hits sanctuary.
Yeah, it is a sanctuary, really, isn't it? It's the one place where everything gets quiet. You get into what you do best.
Now, Matsuyama, don't think that this guy can't play well this week. A lot of talent. All three of these men could win this week.
Beautiful rhythm in his golf swing. Very, very strong leg action.
Look how quiet the club is at the top. That, I think a lot of coaches preach quiet club at the top, and there's a prime example of it. Perfect tee shot.
You know, it's almost like he has to be so strong because there's not a whiplash there that creates speed. But he's so big and strong in his upper body, and there you go. They're perfectly placed. I'd like to follow Jordan Spieth around, too.
Curtis Dustin Johnson won't be laying up. He hit the ball down there 8 miles on this hole. Way the wind's going.
Well, I think we saw John Bailey do this around St. Andrews years ago, and he won. Take on these bunkers. Perfectly placed. Look at this. Just with a simple...
That's all part of the game plan, you know, and game plans will vary, Curtis. You took that bunker on, the other guys chose to take it out of play.
Take it long and over the treble and be precise and avoid it with your accuracy. There are a couple of different ways to play the old course. Look at Luke Donald off to a good start. Alexander Levay as well at 4 under par. Steve Goose was on the board there at 3. Some good names popping up early on here. Birdies aplenty to get going on a mostly calm day. Day 1 of the Open Championship. Tigers on the first tee coming up and starts his quest to win a 3rd at St. Andrews.
You can make perfectly good whiskey in
easiest hole on the golf course thus far. Perfectly judged. They'll have that for birdie. We move forward to 11. And Robert Streb on the tee at the par 3. Only 2 par 3s here at St. Andrews. 8 and 11. And a gorgeous shot from Robert Streb. Saw him the other day playing a practice round. Said, "You've ever been here before?" He said, "I've never been in Europe before."
Now back over to Matsuyama second.
Curtis has 150 yards with his hole cut right behind this ridge. He either has to land it right around the hole and spin it, or land it on top of the ridge and let it release down the hill.
Well done. You saw him hit the down slope, but didn't down forward too much. Very makeable birdie.
And the reason he's able to do that somewhat is the softness of the golf course. The greens are holding quite well, but the fairways are still really running out.
Right side is the shelf. If it goes at it or a little left, it just goes flat back there. It's better to be dropping a smidge on the cameraman, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, a touch less.
Now Jordan second.
So take a little bit to the right of the hole. There's a little bit more flat area on that side of the hole. Work it in with the breeze.
Now, softly.
Jet lag. But he's running on a lot of adrenaline right now. Good shot.
Talk about your form coming in. Tiger Woods probably had one of the better 4-day stretches he's had playing competitive golf for the last year plus when he played last at the Greenbrier. So a little bit of that confidence he brings into this Open Championship.
Yeah, he was really excited about the way he played, especially the last day at Greenbrier where he led the field in proximity to the hole on Sunday. You know, confidence is it's earned, Mike, and it can come back. If you compare Tiger and Spieth guys it nicely, hits his wedges great, makes putts. When Tiger played his best, he did the same thing. But what now? He's not driving it as well. He's not hitting his wedges well, and he's not making as many putts. But that can turn around in the blink of an eye.
So 4 starts over the last 7 majors, 5 times bogeying the opening hole. As we've said before, iron for so many players off of 1. Let's go to 12.
And our leader, Lingmerth, after driving it perfectly. Look at the difficulty of this little pitch. And what a touch. Beautifully executed. And he'll have that to get to -7. Now back to 1.
The Woods group has Jason Day, Louis Oosthuizen in it as well. Oosthuizen, the 2010 champion here.
You know, at the Masters this year, when Tiger walked on the practice team, Mike, he got in a rhythm and he just was machine gunning balls, which gave me the impression that he was trying to return back to what he used to do. And maybe Tiger's finally taken his game out of the lab, and the experiment is over.
So Jason Day will get us going with this group on the first tee.
This is game number 19. On the tee from Australia, Jason Day.
Saw how difficult it was for Day battling that vertigo, the inner ear infection that caused him to be off balance and really a struggle, especially when he went down Friday and then on through the Saturday round of the U.S. Open at Chambers Bay. This is where he played his first ever major championship 5 years ago. Boy, what a run it's been since. Day using medication to keep calm the effects of that viral infection in his inner ear. Feeling better. Swing still looks good as he gets going here at 1.
Even though the fairway one is 135 yards wide, the players are trying to be extremely precise here. They want to hit it a specific distance to get a wheelhouse yardage into this whole location.
We'll jump ahead to 2 green.
This for 2 in a row. The best putter in the world right now. If you had one guy to putt, he would be the man to 1.
And that beautiful swing of Louis Eisen, who won here 5 years ago. And like many of the recent Opens at St. Andrews, save for the John Daly 95 playoff, they were really coronations the last 9 holes. Not much stress. Wasn't a tight leaderboard. Again to the second.
And here, Dustin Johnson's birdie putt after missing about an 8-footer at the first. This to his first birdie of the day. Well done. Well, even after the disappointing loss to the U.S. Open, he has had a wonderful year so far. And a lot of people pick him to do well this week. This was earlier. Matsuyama, this for birdie. Pretty straight putt up the hill. Him to do well. Caught a lot of the hole.
Got a little paint job there, Curtis.
Maybe. And back over 12, that was our leader. That was to get back to -7, Lingmerth. Disappointing miss there. And his holes will be tougher for the next couple hours. Wind will come out of the left. A lot of bunkers to avoid. Well, he's had a wonderful start so far, but he's actually missed a few putts. This at 5, the par 5, the start so far, but he's actually missed a few putts. This at 5, the par 5, this for birdie, and back over 8, the par 3. It's really not a makeable one, but when you've made a lot so far, they all look like they should go in. And look at this, what a good putt. He knew it. Now back over 11 after hitting the front left bunker. This is a good bunker shot to this position. The right. Just not quite hard enough. Green's running about 10, slower than normal. But he's still got a heck of a range.
Third hole, huge driving area, 60, 70 yards. You can hit driver, you hit 3-wood, you hit a long iron, you basically can hit whatever you want to give yourself the length approach. Jordan's got it in perfect position.
Interesting to see what Dustin will do. There's a bunker out there about 340, which would be in his wheelhouse, back to 1.
Dottie Pepper will be with the Jason Day, Louis Tyson, Tiger Woods group today. Dottie?
135 yards, Tiger the first play of this grouping, and then a huge amount of very vocal support for Tiger after the tee shot at 1 as they were approaching their seconds.
Dottie, he's as far back as we've seen anybody today.
Maybe far back, but he does have a beautiful angle, Paul.
And he is in the Swilken Burn. And you're right, Paul. That's as far back as anyone was who we've seen. We've seen players take iron off the tee to get started.
It looked like he clanked his tee shot just a hair. And again, you know, the goal is to find a yardage that you like for your second shot. Not accuracy's not an issue off one.
And there's only one place you can make a mistake, and it's right there.
It's short.
Yep.
You got to give the RNA credit. They've got that hole cut in a perfect spot. I think he made good contact here. You know, it only lacked 1 yard, really, and it would have been 4 feet, 5 feet from the hole, Mike. Instead, went down for a bogey.
Jason Day.
106.
Well, that's what Paul was talking about earlier with your game plan with the wedges. You have to be precise on your numbers as you go through this week. We're back at 3.
And that's not a driver in his hand. As Andy mentioned, a massive area to drive in. Several bunkers. A new one, about 293 to the right-hand side.
Scotty, let's have a look at Dustin Johnson's swing here. Here's a guy who's got this incredible speed and lower body. You can only put speed in the swing one time. It needs to be the right time, and that's impact and beyond, and Dustin Johnson has that. Talked to Butch last night. You know, his strategy is, he says he never tries to change a golf swing, but he's watched golf swings change. And Dustin Johnson's a prime example of that. He left him alone.
Coach Harmon's done great work with Dustin, helping him maximize his play and that power. Just a moment ago, who's ties in at 1? So a hole that's given very few people trouble in the early going. Sees 2 good ones there. We go to 13.
Really difficult hole to drive on. The coffin bunkers in the middle. Flat area. The further left you go, but that makes it a tougher approach to the green. And Lingmerth has found a level surface there. And back to 1, and the troubles for Tiger.
Well, it's a pitch shot of just about 60 feet across the burn.
It's a simple little shot, except it's the first hole of the Open Championship.
And well-documented troubles. Starting majors, starting tournaments every week.
And that putt for 5. That's given a shot and a half to the field. The way the morning's gone with so many birdies at number 1.
He looks like he's in shock.
Well, you played this hole so many times, and you know that's there. The obvious mistake to make is long, not short, but it's also, here we go again. There's got to be somewhere in that mind as well. While you're going through processing, grinding on the shot ahead of you, it's just gone this way for Tiger. Much more often than we were so used to early on in his career. Last 7 majors, as you see. I think the interesting total of all that, with all the numbers, last 7 majors, he's only been under par 4 times. And all those missed cuts after just, wasn't if he was going to make the cut. Would he be in the last group or the second to last group at some point on the weekend?
Well, his body's betrayed him a little bit, Mike. It's hard to overcome some of the injuries. He's got off-the-course stuff. So there's a lot of hurdles for Tiger. He's a mental giant, and I think he can still turn it around, still win golf tournaments.
Jason Day will putt first. Let's go to 3.
Second for Dustin.
90 yards. Trying to carry it all the way to the hole and spin it.
Chance for back-to-back birdies for Dustin Johnson. To 1.
Another one of the key players in Chambers Bay in the drama on Sunday.
Closed with 29 and comes in here. Not a whole lot of people talking about him, Mike.
Disbelief as he took a second look, missing that on the right. Number 17 in the world rankings as he begins his quest to win back-to-back at St. Andrews, which Tiger did when the Open has been played here. Last, Tiger 0-0 and 0-5. And this 4-5.
Head to 3. Speed's second.
That's from 82 yards. Very interesting. He walked all the way up to the front of the green before the other two players played, just to see where this hole is located. 3 beautiful shots.
Off to a sensational start, not at all surprising. Given the talent of the group, Spieth's won the first 2 majors, looking to begin his Open Championship with 3 straight birdies in the pursuit of the 3rd straight major championship. Lingmerth continues to set the pace on 6 under par.
A Big Mac, an Asian chicken salad,
10-piece chicken McNuggets. You can win $250,000 with Minion Mania at McDonald's and double your chances to win.
Let's walk some. We walked a practice round last year, so he came to the first tee, and I thought, all right, we'll have a stroll and a chat. But it was evident that it was a business stroll, and so we gave the young man plenty of room to do his work, because that's what he was doing, working. He was not there for the chat. Back to 2T.
Yeah, this is a tee shot for Tiger Woods.
Curtis, both other players in this group went with driver. Tiger, a much more conservative approach.
Probably just a shocking start for Tiger.
I would agree. That is the mistake you cannot make.
Over to 3.
Dustin Johnson buries that. So a disappointing miss for him on the first, but he's responded with birdies on 2 and 3. This was a guy that was short odds at the local sports book and very popular in the minds of many, just so gifted. After his time away from the game, came back with a roaring statement there at Doral. What a drive he hit on the 18th. Absence of any fear. It's interesting how people point out, yes, he missed those putts on 18, but how about the two shots that put him in position to win the U.S. Open? And Dustin's been a force in the major championships. Seems only a matter of time that he would win one. And Matsuyama, who lipped out one. Boy, this group, they're just destroying this golf course. It's defenseless early on. And there's too much game in this group not to make a bunch of birdies, and they all are 2 under par through 3 holes. Lingmerth's second here on 13. Mammoth green, and that's not an easy putt. Back to 4.
Let's have a look at the 4th hole. Longest hole coming or going out, longest par 4 going out, 480 yards, but the wind right to left, possibly helping just a hair. Wide open fairway. Giant landing area if you can clear that little wispy grass stuff right there, 320 yards. One of the more difficult holes on the course. The hole's cut on 29 today, and over there on the left-hand side, protected by that bunker. Just miss that bunker at all costs.
And Paul, after these 3 took advantage of the first 3 holes, all relatively simple. As a matter of fact, holes 1, 2, and 3 all playing under par so far for the field. This is a significant test. It was the 4th hardest hole here in 2010 and the most difficult of the opening 9. And we saw why many believe Dustin Johnson has an advantage. Let's first go back to Tiger Woods' next shot.
And can he right the ship?
It's from 177, the whole location on the far left side of the bleachers for a line. Ball lands short.
Dottie must be in a badly mishit there.
Heavy.
And again, he was as far back as anyone we've seen today, Curtis.
Yeah, but it's no excuse to mishit the shot, though. He's still hitting an 8-iron. Looked like an 8-iron loft. Up to 4.
And Paul, just to finish what you were saying over the aerial, here's a big advantage for Dustin Johnson. If you can't carry it 300, the fairway's only about 25 yards wide. If you can hit it over that mound on the left, it's wide open, and he can hit it over that mound on the left.
You know, with the wind behind him, Sean, he could actually have some issues of hitting it all the way through this fairway at about 350. But what a tee shot. He's going to be left with just a very short iron into this green.
Still, please.
It's 358 to where that fairway ran out just ahead of his golf ball. Now Matsuyama.
This is another young man that can put it out there. These 2 players don't have to worry at all about carrying this ridge.
Again, he's long enough to carry it about 290 in the air and over into that wide open expanse. And several of us walked with Jordan Spieth his first practice round on Monday when he got off the plane from winning the John Deere Classic. When he got on this tee with Michael Greller, his caddy, Michael was explaining the shot, and Jordan said, so I have to hit it about as hard as I can into a fairway that's 10 yards wide. That's what it looks like from the tee. We'll see if he has enough to take it up the left side or down the right, which is much narrower and fraught with difficulty, including a bunker at 300 down the right.
With this wind direction, he probably can carry it over the just landed into the bank a little bit, but it's in fine position.
Again, he's not quite as long as some of the others. And there's a great example of the advantage that Johnson would have on a hole such as this, to 12.
This is the short par 4 12th. Streb second, laying up with the bunker. It's 100 yards short of the green. What a shot that is for the young man. Playing in his first Open Championship. Now to 13.
Lingmerth, here on 13, played the second most difficult of the road hole in 2010. You see the hole location only 8 on. So important to two-putt well on these enormous greens. He'll have an opportunity to do that to stay at 6. In fact, it's 2.
Simple second for Jason Day.
Right at 100 yards, Curtis. Couldn't be much simpler.
Robert Streb up ahead of us at 12. Did make his putt. He went to -5 after 12. Now, after Tiger's poor second, this is what he faces on the third.
2 significant hills to contend with. Better part of 50 yards.
This is going well to the right. Boy, just 2 unforced errors on the first 2 holes.
Not just unforced, but compounded.
Doesn't that golf course do it to you, Dottie?
It does. It exposes every weakness, and there it is for Tiger.
Well, there you see what their face is. Pretty simple hole, but you have to carry it far enough. And there you see our leaderboard. David Lingmerth leads at -6 after 12. Streb just made his birdie over at 12 to go to -5. Hunter Mahan with a good start. Good start is also important here because it gets tougher when you make the turn starting at 12. Paul Dune. The good start is now under -3. Back in a moment.
bogey the first 2 holes. What a disappointing start. When it rains, it pours. And who would have thought?
Take one more look. He looked like he'd made it, and it looked like it hit a lot of the hole, much like Matsuyama on the same hole. But he knows. We don't have to say anything. There's a good look at going out and coming in at St. Andrews. What a place. Now let's ease on over to 5.
Only par 5 on the way out. Charles Schwartzel with his third.
That valley's so deep down there, Mike, you can only see the top portion of the flag. That's pretty well judged right there. Like, oh no.
That'll get him to a couple under par. Bubba Watson also in this group at 1 under. He and Poulter's 1 over through 4. And we're going to 4 now.
And the second shot for Jordan Spieth, and Andy North is there.
Yeah, Jordan has 200 within 20, 25 feet of the hole here. Will be a good shot. Start this ball well right, trying to draw it. Not a bad play. The only place you cannot miss it on this hole is left in that bunker.
Hole location Andy talked about, just over the swale that cuts across the center of that green. Back to 2.
Jason Day for birdie. Well done. You know, these players, when they start out and they see all the red on the leaderboard, they know there's a little bit of pressure. They know they're going to have to make some putts. To 4.
Matsuyama second.
From 170, totally different angle. He's coming in well left, so he'll have to land the ball on the downslope of that ridge that Sean just told us about. Got the other side of it.
Now to 10.
And Retief Goosen, who's gotten off to a good start, as many players have, 33 for his first 9.
Just to get to 4 under.
So good start for the 01, the 04 U.S. Open champion. Now, looking at the leaderboard here, we have obviously the story of Jordan Spieth, but you see a couple of Americans kind of in that same age group, 21 and 22. Jordan Nieberg, Ali Schneiderjans, they're at 5 and 4 under, respectively. Curtis mentioned Paul Dunn, the Irish amateur, at 3 under par. So 3 of the 9 AMs in the field, and the 4 haven't even started yet, off to very good starts, playing the Open as an amateur at St. Andrews. To 4.
Second for Dustin Johnson.
That was down there so far. All he had was a pitching wedge. Not the best shot.
Too far. Too far.
Was indeed too far. To the 3rd tee.
Just a disastrous start for Woods.
And third time, Scott, that's the conservative play.
Right. We hear so much about patience. I don't know how you stay patient when you see guys going out in 7 under par and you start 2 over and 2. To 5.
Get a good look with the player's face if they come up just short there. Garcia set to play his 3rd.
Plenty of green to work with off this upslope. Oh, he fluffed it.
And now Patrick Reed.
Big difference, Mike, when you can clip it off of this tight grass right here. Some kind of a medium-high skidder.
Reed also put it in the burn on the first hole if you were not up with us early.
Oh my goodness, what a shot. So Sergio went for more of a lob and just kind of scooped it.
Well, if you know the history of St. Andrews, and we don't mean to repeat some of the obvious stuff, but for folks who aren't familiar with it, many of the greens set and these massive greens give so many options for the players. But really the best in the world are still narrowing in on normal size targets. Didn't wait for Reed's ball to be marked as Westwood runs his chip right past the hole as well. Near the par 5 is number 14 on the second 9. Here's Lingworth with his second shot.
He's got a chance here, Mike, to reach. There's a busy bunch of humps and mounds on the right-hand side of this green. Not going to quite get there, and that's going to be a very delicate pitch. He's going to have to do something magical, I think, to get that close. This is probably the biggest small green in golf.
To the fourth.
Matsuyama for birdie.
They come up over that big ridge. Just judging the distance would be difficult.
On the proper level. One ahead to 4.
And a long birdie putt for Jordan Spieth.
Because he hit his approach shot hole high, he's putting just basically up this valley. He doesn't have to go over any part of that big mountain. We saw Matsuyama come over. Should be a little simpler putt.
So much talk about the possibility of jet lag. We saw him when he got off the plane Monday. Looked fresh as a daisy. Was quite animated playing his practice round. He said, I have plenty left in the tank. So far, so good for Jordan.
Second for Day.
That was just 108, and that angle actually a little bit into the wind.
It's a location where absolutely perfectly struck shots have been bouncing just beyond and spinning back. That stays up top. Here's the fourth.
And Dustin Johnson for birdie. So much of the talk about Dustin coming in was about his frame of mind after 3-putting on the 72nd hole at the U.S. Open. To lose by 1 to Jordan Spieth. He said, I've already put that behind me. Thought I played very well.
He sounded great in his press conference, Sean.
Well, let's hear a little bit of it, Paul. We spoke with Dustin Johnson about the aftermath of what happened at Chambers Bay.
I know I have what it takes. I know in the situation I can hit the shot I need to hit. I can get it done. You know, in this situation, I didn't feel like I was in complete control just because, you know, with the greens being a little bit suspect, you know, no matter what, even if I hit the putt on the correct line with the correct speed, it might not go in. So I wasn't in complete control there.
I'm not sure I agree with I know I can get it done. You don't know that you know until you've done it. And, you know, he's got to do it. He's certainly more than capable, but you don't know until you've done it.
There's a young man who's done it, and this is more than a tap in for par for Jordan Spieth. Paul, what about the preparation? He elected to play at the John Deere for a variety of reasons, including his loyalty to an event that gave him a chance to win his first event. But is 3 days enough here to prepare?
I think it is. It's not an overly tricky golf course, and he had a lot of help, Sean, in his preparation.
He walked some with Tiger in a practice round. He knows this place as well as anybody. That's well judged. At this point in a day when birdies are everywhere, just a par where you'd think would steady the ship for the moment. Great look from above at the old course. Nothing like this in the world. To 14.
And the third here at the par 5, Scott, for our leader, David Lingmerth.
Oh, boy.
Careful.
That's gone.
Yep.
He needed to play a little more sensible shot there. He took a chance, Mike, and he might pay the price.
Struggle early. Those of you just getting your morning coffee and watching all those threes. He birdied every par 4 on that first 9, but has calmed down a little bit. It gets tougher on the way. Just a year ago, but a few are making a little bit of noise in the early portion of this opening round. A couple of them young Americans. One who is not is Paul Dunn, 21-year-old from Ireland, who came through the qualification process. And over at Woburn, of course, in England, was able to find his way the last 3 there, the qualifier, and make it into the Open Championship. Dunn has come up with strong start. 3 under with 3 holes to play. $1 million smile. And why not? I mentioned there are a couple of Americans involved. We ran into Ollie Snyderjans when he was playing a practice round with Phil Mickelson earlier in the week. Or Georgia Tech. Terrific player. Ollie rolling in is tied with Robert Streb. 1 shot behind David Lingmerth. Depending on what Lingmerth does in the par 5, 14th. Lingmerth, 29 on the front nine. 1 shy of the Open Championship record for 9 holes. The average with the early start, and Tiger Woods, the only player of those underway to bogey 1 and 2, and he's been way off with his yardages on his approach shots. Mr. Woods. This is Lingmerth with the 4th, the par 5.
Up the hill, down the hill.
And taking off on it. So that coming back for par for the winner of the Memorial. Let's go to the 5 on the front. That's number 5, and Jordan Spieth on the tee.
Wind from right to left, helping just a bit. Do not want to, you can go way left if you'd like. This is started on a really good line, right at that stone in the middle of the fairway.
Both property markers, marked stones. They sit in the middle of the fairway there. It's covered with AstroTurf just to soften the impact in case a ball would hit it. Those things have been here a lot longer than the golf's been played.
Okay, this is
and the golf has been played for over 500 years here. Look at the Spieth swing.
Well, this is just absolutely pure. Look how quiet Jordan Spieth's hands are during his swing. Just fantastic. He's got incredible position at the top, and then he just begins to uncoil. His lower body's the key. Look how he gets out of the way, delivers a club beautifully and consistently. That'll last a while.
Let's go back to 14, and Lingmerth for par here.
He's bogeyed 2 of the last 4 holes, Mike. This is to avoid bogeying 3 out of 5 after birding 7 of the first 9.
Right.
That's a bad bogey there, the 14th, a definite birdie hole today, even with that hole cut in that difficult spot. He took a chance trying to get that little pitch shot close and paid the price.
So Lingmerth will drop back after that 7 under start. He and Robert Streb now share the lead. The E-Birdie there for the moment at 5 under par. Let's go to 4.
Tiger Woods on the tee.
Finally slipping into the water and his hand off the tee shot.
And well positioned there. Tiger felt his play at the Greenbrier 2 weeks ago was about as well as he had struck the ball in 2 years. Not following up on that here today. Let's go to 12.
And the second for Retief Goosen on his short par 4. Try and stick way left.
Curtis Goosen qualified to get in this, and he actually got in a playoff, birdied the first hole of a playoff to get in.
Good for him. Yep. Now back over at 5.
It's pretty neat to see a 2-time major champion go through the qualifier to try to find a way to play the Open at St. Andrews. Such how much it means to guys.
Well, especially those from outside the U.S. This is the #1 tournament in the world, without a doubt.
Absolutely. The World Golf Championship before those events were created and called. Matsuyama's in the fairway there for his second.
That's a perfect tee shot, 234. With this front hole location, it's going to be so difficult to get the ball close. Do you take it into the valley and try to bounce it up, or do you just throw it on the green and take your medicine and get a 40 or 50 footer for eagle?
Anywhere but left here, Andy, and you should be able to make birdie.
He took it down into the valley.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the most dangerous play, but it turned out very nicely for him. It's the only way you can get it close.
Turn one over, work the wind. We go to 11.
Carl Peterson for birdie and a tie for the lead. Native of Sweden, went to North Carolina State, still lives in the Carolinas. Paired today with Luke Donald and Hunter Mahan. They're all playing well, as you can see. Mahan and Donald just one shot behind Peterson.
Back at 5. Second for Spieth.
From 230 yards, he's taking a 3-iron.
Just see the yellow flag there in the distance. He's looking like he tugged it. No, not at all. That's really good.
And that's the type of putt you're going to have here 30 or 40 times this week. You play the proper shot, you're going to have 40, 50 footers.
Andy, we've talked about the conditions a little bit, just for the folks waking up. Well, what's the weather like out there? How is it for the players right now?
It's very comfortable. It's a little bit chilly, just a slight breeze. That was Dustin Johnson from under 200 yards, so he can play. He's playing in there with like a 7-iron, throwing it up in the air. He can spin it.
Well, he's in mid-season form right now, tee to green.
But that's what the point you were making, Andy, with that distance, and where if you decide to go over any of the trouble, although not at this hole a lot of trouble, the advantage to be able to take a 7-iron in there.
Well, he has firepower that no one else out here has. I mean, he can hit it as far as he wants to, and what an asset on this golf course.
Everybody home there at 2. Some eagle putts. A much more makeable one for Dustin Johnson trying to jump up on that first page as we continue from St. Andrews. Round 1 of the Open Championship.
We're literally trying to save the world here.
Are you sure you can handle this?
We're professionals. Here we go.
Will be an MLS action as they take on the Chicago Fire. Had a disappointing start to their season. Crew of the Fire coming up for MLS Soccer Sunday, 4U5 Eastern on ESPN2. Back to the Open Championships. At Championship, we return to the play at the 4th.
185 yards from a sand-filled divot. Right from the right.
So Tiger's still struggling on the opening holes. Now it's 7. Bubba Watson for birdie. Enjoying the benign conditions. He admitted one of the reasons he hasn't fared well over here in the past, when the wind comes up, as much as he loves to shape his shots, it becomes more difficult in the heavy wind.
Different Watson, different resume here. Matched by very few effort. And Tom rolls it in to move to 1 under. This will be his last Open Championship. Maybe. Tom left open the possibility that were he to crack the top 10, which would earn him an invite back, you never know. and he opens in 35 to 15.
And our leader, David Langmuir, this is second. Tough hole location right in the front right of the screen as the green runs away from you. And there you have it, trying to get a little bit too cute, and once again coming up short just as he did at 14. That will be a tough up and in. Back to 5.
Eagle putts here. Spieth first.
Another great lag for Spieth. Easy 2-putt birdie for Jordan. That'll get him to 3 under par through the first 5 holes.
And there will be plenty of holes with putts like that. Because the size of the greens, even if you are accurate, if things do get windy, it's harder to have that perfect number dialed in. So that strength of Jordan Spieth's game will certainly be on display here at St. Andrews this week.
This is a double green, Mike, including those 5 and 13. And the superintendent informed us that if you walk this green with a mower, a single cut mower, back and forth, that by the time you're done, you will walk the equivalent of 7 miles just to cut this one green. I'm not completely sure if that's dead on accurate, but
there were some doubts in
close.
The 7 miles. Yeah, there's an app for that, and I'm not going to try it, but
there's no way it's 7 miles.
Matsuyama for birdie.
Matsuyama now for eagle. Oh, right on line.
So he'll tap in for 4. And before Dustin, let's go back and check on Tiger.
Long birdie putt.
Long and slow, Sean, with a big break from the right at the start. I'll say he is really did a good job of maintaining sort of his body language until he saw that ball in the middle of this last fairway.
Now more than 7 years since he last won a major. Back to 5.
And it's the eagle putt for Dustin Johnson to get within 1 of the lead.
Dustin Johnson 4 under after 5.
Was out and those boats were on dry ground.
Oh, is that right?
I got a picture of it on my phone.
You can tweet it if you want.
Maybe I will.
Hey, by the way, hi to all of you on Twitter, watching us from all over. Peoria, Elberton, Georgia, Of course, Syracuse, love you, Q. Chicago, Indianapolis, Oklahoma City, Aiken, South Carolina. People who are up with us checking in.
College Park, Maryland.
Got College Park in the house. That's good. People staying up from Valencia, California. And my favorite one, other than all the night shifters who said that they come home and watch us, a couple on their wedding anniversary in Maui, celebrating their 15th anniversary. And they took a trip to Maui, and they're staying out there watching the Open. Late night, Wednesday night. Thank you all. Glad you're with us. Let's go to Lingworth at 50.
And our co-leader with a big swooping putt from right to left.
Good.
Well, all set up by a shot that came up, second shot that came up a bit short.
And, Kirsch, last couple of holes, we've seen somebody playing St. Andrews, first Open. You get off to that good start, but not just the win, but some of the unique places you can't be and things you have to deal with on the back nine.
All of the above, yes. Over to 13.
And Kevin Na, all this guy does is play quality golf. Golf gods will notch that one down and say, you owe us one later. They always get even, don't they? What a start for Na. Andy, this is a characteristic of this course where things get a little bit jammed up.
Yeah, because the 13th hole, generally when it's back into the breeze, the players play it well left of the coffin bunkers into the 6th fairway. So they're now playing their seconds into 13, and the group at the 6th tee have waited there for quite a while.
There you see what Dustin Johnson faces. As we go for a moment back over it. 15, this for par. I'm sorry, for bogey.
That's pretty solid there, Curtis. Back-to-back bogeys. Yeah, he's actually on display for exactly as this course plays, Mike. Going out, it's easy, and coming back in, it's all you can handle.
And it's not even blowing yet.
That's right.
Now, back over to 6. This is a good driving hole. Coffin bunkers on the left. Series of 4 bunkers on the right. He flew it over the coffins. That will not be that bad. As Paul said earlier today, the rough is not that thick. But when you do put it in there, you do lose the control of the speed. Let's take a look at 6. Good par 4. 414 yards, wind out of the right. There you see the coffins. On the left, divides that in the 13th fairway. Series of 4 bunkers on the right. Landing zone 271 to 375. And the 6 green splits with the 12. Once you get up the false embankment of about 4 steps in the very front of the green, pretty flat surface. It's a day's hole location, all the way back right.
Nice and still on the path, please.
6 is one of those holes, Curtis, where you have to challenge the bunkers. There's no laying up short. You got to just thread the needle here.
Well, it's not that narrow. It's about 40 yards, so
that's threading for me.
And if you hit a little bit left, that rough on the left this year is very thin, very easy to play out of.
Thank you. It's very much in rhythm. I thought he would look anxious. Boy, there's so much ride for this man. The one stat I think is enormous is if he can win here this week, he would only be the second man ever, along with Ben Hogan, to win the first 3. Now we're at 14.
And Jordan Nieberge, third shot.
This hole is protected by a mound right in front of it. You got to clear that. And he did. Ooh, that's well played.
Mentioned Jordan, his Wisconsin ties, college, Oklahoma State. Develop his story a bit more. Let's go to 12.
And the short par 4 of this birdie for Luke Donald. Whoever drove it in the left rough, second to there. Luke Donald is currently -4. Luke Donald, good solid player. His best finish here is 2 tied for 5th. Maybe a little bit better this week. Robert Strad, Goosen, Pedersen all lead the Open.
Bring us your aching and sleep deprived. Bring us those who want to feel well rested.
But that continues to be really good. 3 birdies first 5 holes, playing number 6, 3 under, and 2 off the lead in this opening round with good scoring conditions, especially on the way out as the players get started with this opening round of the 2015 Open Championship here at St. Andrews. And we talked about, in lyrical terms, the history, and there it is in literal. Wood, Hogan, Palmer, Nicklaus, Woods, and now Jordan Spieth win the first 2. Chance to come to the third and get that opportunity. It's only happened once in the last 4 decades, and that was Tiger until Jordan did it. And here he is at 6.
Back north, there's so many cameras out here.
It's not hurting, correct? Straight off your right.
98 yards. This is another strength of Jordan Spieth. Fabulous wedge player.
He should be licking his chops here with this yardage. Ooh, what a shot. Boy, you don't see that very often at a links golf course.
Ooh, unlucky there. Thing's about to bounce it in the hole.
You know the part of this that we look as we go over 5 quickly.
Tiger second.
Oh, watch out here now. Good players tend to, when the ball's below their feet, pull it. Everybody acts like, I guess it to the right when it's below your feet, but good players over adjust. Let's see what he did. Oh, God. Pull it.
Yep. Went way to the left over there, and then you saw Woods shaking that right hand. It has been a very poor start. A lot of uneven shots for Woods. No control of distance. This is a much more difficult second.
Yeah, his distance control's been really bad today, and this is just a violent effort to try to get this ball up there on the green. Almost a desperation move here early. Horrible start for Tiger Woods.
Jump ahead to
no man's land.
Jump ahead to 16.
Par 4. In the left rough off the tee, David Lingmarth.
Yeah, pretty thick lie over here, Sean. Just inside 160 yards. Well, that's pretty nicely judged.
As the gentleman mentioned, the rough not as thick as in years gone by. That's by design. Gordon McKee, the superintendent, thought there was too much coarse shrubbery and grass and tried to thin it out, bring back some of the natural fescues, so the rough will be a bit more playable this time around. 15.
And this, our co-leader, Streb for birdie, yes. Puts him to -6.
28-year-old Robert Streb, the outright leader here now, Curtis. He did win earlier this year, or this season, I should say, but a couple of weeks ago when he played, remember the issue he had with his putter at the Greenbrier, and not only did he putt with his wedge, he putted well with his wedge, working his way into that playoff.
You know, it's actually a great way to practice with a sand wedge. You just try to belly the ball, try to catch it right in the equator.
Oh, come on.
I'm telling you.
I like the flat surface of the putter.
Worked for him. Meantime, here's Tiger's third at 5.
Well, not a whole lot you can do out of the shrubbery over there.
Most players are looking at putts of that length on this green here this morning for eagle. Instead, for Woods, it'll be for birdie across the green. 2-6.
And this is the birdie putt for Dustin Johnson. About 30 feet. Pretty flat. And we'll see some putts. First couple of days come up short here because the greens are slower than what they are used to. They're running about 10 on the step meter. Let's go way up to 18.
Now we'll get the first group in. Greg Owen finishing. These players started at 6:30 local time. Half 6 as would be set around here. And Owen in at 4 under. So 68 for Greg. There this morning when Rod Pampling hit the opening tee shot at 6:30. Great scene as the championship got started about 4.5 hours ago. 5 green long birdie attempt for Tiger. Dottie's been walking and watching.
Well, that was the third shot. It was the only shot he really had from over there left in the fescue and Heather. This putt of similar shape to what he had at the fourth, but longer. And as a result, slower. Bobbed a little bit early. It's another day, Mark, that was a good-looking warm-up, and it never transferred to the first tee.
Well, you could see that on the short irons, so far off yardage-wise on those short irons as we go back to Spieth.
And we go back over to 6th green and Spieth. Andy, I want to ask you something. You know, when you jump into the limelight like he has over the last 2 years, one of the big differences is all the distractions.
I think the beautiful thing for him is that he is focused enough when he gets on the golf course. That's where he feels so comfortable, and he he's still young enough, and a lot of people don't recognize him yet when he's out. Yes, he gets bothered a little bit, but just a little left, right,
When you putt like that, it doesn't matter what's going on around you.
I was just going to say, yes.
But he is very comfortable. And spending a lot of time with him over the last couple of years because of the Ryder Cup, he truly believes that he loves the big stage. He wants to be on this. He wants to have it mean something. And, basically we've seen him play his best golf in the biggest circumstances.
Well, when you practice your whole life and this is your dream, why back off when you finally get to that stage? Now Dustin Johnson for par. He will remain at -4. What a talent that man is.
We've already got 22 players that are 3 under par or better.
Great start, easy conditions.
Robert Streb, our leader by 1 here in the opening round of the Open Championship.
Stay ahead of engine threats with new Shell V.
Players tied for 4th. Moment to go with the 7th.
Jordan Spieth's tee shot. Relatively simple tee shot here at 7. All you need to do is carry it about 240, and it's a big, wide fairway. It used to be a swale here, but it gathered so many balls. There were a lot of divots. They flattened it out. Back to 5.
And the travails of Tiger, this for par.
Discombobulated. That's the word I think of at this point.
It didn't come close to thinking about missing one of those. Like 2000, 2005 when winning. So bogeys 1, 2, and 5. Woods 3 over, 9 back, and he's only played 5 holes.
Now it's 16, David Lingmerth.
A pretty flat putt here, not a lot of break in this one, Sean.
For his first birdie on the back 9 after he went out in 29. 7 under par. Be a tap-in par for Lingmerth. Back to 9.
Bubba Watson for birdie. 9, one of the flattest greens out here. Not a lot in that. It hits the lip. Interesting to see how Bubba performs in this championship, particularly if the wind starts to howl, and we're waiting on some weather. It figures to be part of the equation, simply a matter of what side of the draw it impacts most dramatically. But there you see the loop, out and back.
You know, Scott, it's important that these guys that are out here today take advantage of these conditions, because it could turn on a dime. The afternoon players could, you know, take it on the chin with the conditions. But these guys that are out here this morning could really take a beating tomorrow.
With 16 in our leader.
Robert Streb. Second at the long par 4. We'll talk about needing preparation here. He had never seen the course. But until Tuesday, he played in the John Deere and had never been on this side of the Atlantic Ocean prior to this week. Playing beautifully. Oklahoma native, now lives in Kansas. Robert Streb, the leader.
The only shampoo that tingles as it cleanses.
I really need to start our commercial actors fantasy football league. ESPN makes it so easy. If I don't do it, Roger, the allergy medicine commercial actor, will. He can't be commish. He's softer than the footballs in Foxborough.
Now, side effects may include... I'm sorry, you guys. This horse reminds me of summers with my grandpa.
I have to run our league.
Start your league with ESPN. If you don't, someone else will.
Bring us your aching and sleep deprived. Bring us those who want to feel well rested. Aleve PM, the only one to combine a safe sleep aid plus the 12-hour pain-relieving strength of Aleve. Be a morning person again with Aleve PM.
Why do we insist on 100% Alaskan whitefish? Why do we always hand dip in our famous batter, cook it to golden perfection, and serve it with fries for just $1.99? Because at Long John Silver's, we think you deserve more for $1.99.
Watch as these magnificent creatures take flight, soaring away from home towards the promise of a better existence. But these birds are suffering, because this better place turned out to have an unreliable cell phone network, and the videos on their little bird phone...
One of his strengths is the finesse zone wedge. Anything that's under full, there's got to be finesse. And that's where the players, if you're dialed in, you can take advantage of these little finesse zones. Watch this divot come out in front of the ball here. Great contact. Players at this level are terrific at getting it pin high when they can hit full shots, Mike. The challenge is when you're taking a little something off. Can you get it even with the hole? And Jordan Spieth right now, the best in the world.
And he will be the world's #1 should he win this Open Championship. He would move ahead of Rory McIlroy, who, of course, is not here after suffering an ankle injury while playing soccer with some pals.
How about that stat?
Yeah, he's just counted upon to be under par in every round at a major, it seems. 217.
Our first look at the famed road hole, most difficult hole here in 2010, one of the toughest par 4s in championship golf.
This one going down the right-hand side, Scott.
That's aggressive.
Should be okay.
Ooh, only just, Billy, but
just barely.
Worked out. It's position A. Get a look here from different angle.
A little bit like Matt Kuchar, his hands almost under his armpits there on the backswing. Very flat and rotary.
But Kuchar is such a big, long, angular guy. This is Lingworth, 5'7", sturdy, compact. You like that swing, Paul?
Yeah, it makes more sense at his height. And that's a swing, to me, that looks like he could never hit it left.
To 7.
And Dustin Johnson now for birdie. Like Spieth, 4 under through the first 6. And this is the last hole that they'll play of the 7 in a row to begin the round. They'd go out away from St. Andrews. When they play 8, they'll be dealing with a different wind, although it isn't particularly breezy at the moment. We saw the difference in David Lingmerth front to back. That's to there to the left.
The 8th hole, number 9, also plays back toward town, off in the distance at the top of your screen. 10 and 11 come back in the same direction as the first 7, and then it's back toward town from 12 in. Matsuyama now for birdie. He's going to make sure. Just a little bit more than a tap in for Hideki.
Sean, you've been there all morning. Jordan Spieth hit it maybe as close to the green as anybody, and then as close to the hole.
Yes, and this has been a hole the field has been taking advantage of. It's playing almost a quarter stroke under par. Relatively short hole. We mentioned the big landing area off the tee, and other than that massive shell bunker in front of it, which we have a camera, not a lot of hazards. And if you hit it in that bunker, you've just made a mistake off the tee and taken out a club that made you hit it too far. But Spieth's shot as good as any, and it is a tap-in birdie for Jordan Spieth. So much for jet lag, so much for lack of time spent in preparation at St. Andrews. He was here once before, back in 2011. He was on the Walker Cup team. They were playing at Royal Aberdeen, and they came and played around here. So he has been here before, but not overly familiar with St. Andrews prior to his arrival on Monday. And what he has done is so impressive, Paul.
It really is. And, he's courageous. I think that's one of my favorite things about Jordan Spieth. He's not scared. His desire for success trumps his fear of failure, Sean. And he's a breath of fresh air. I love it. He appreciates, too. He's a studied, he's like a student of the game as well. I just love him. I really do. There's nothing you can say bad about him. He's he's a deep thinker, Sean. At that age, to be that deep a thinker, articulate as well. It's like he takes his skull cap off and just reveals what he's thinking to the media. He does have one secret, though, and that secret is a strategy that he will not reveal that he feels like works well in majors.
Well, that's what Tiger Woods said about him. He formulates a game plan with the considerable help of Michael Greller, and then he goes out and sticks to it and executes it.
They're a great team. It reminds me of Mickelson and Bones in the way that they converse and they make sure Jordan Spieth never takes a shot off.
Now heading back in a different direction after 7 holes, heading away from St. Andrews. Number 8 heads back in, but really not a breath of wind. The flag almost straight down the flagstick as he plays this par 3 shortest hole on the course. 155 yards over that bunker, and it's an enormous green behind it.
Yeah, Sean, all the room was past the whole location. Any mistake would be short.
another shot that's virtually pin high. And where Tiger has not been able to hit anything even with the hole, Jordan Spieth hit everything even with the hole so far today.
Robert Streb is the leader by 1, trying to push it to 2. And the gentleman showed him putting with his wedge. He didn't break his putter at the Greenbrier because of a temper tantrum. He was walking hole to hole, just casually flipped it toward his bag for the caddy, and it happened to break. Perhaps the worst thing that happened to him was he got to replace the putter once they went to the playoff. Back on the 8th tee, Dustin Johnson.
Trying to draw the ball back up against this wind, and it's just slightly going to the right. The hole high, not bad.
And that breeze right to left through the first 7 holes, now left to right as they play 8 and 9 to 14.
And Retief Goosen, who's got a terrific start to this Open Championship, to join Streb at 6 under. You can tell by his stare, he
That's got to go.
And that's not the first, nor will it be the last. This road hole bunker has been reconfigured in such a way that more balls will funnel in, but it is not quite as tall, which theoretically makes it a little easier to get out of. Lingmerth will test that theory. He started in 7 under, but now he trails. Robert Streb, our leader, round 1 of the Open.
Hey, big guy. I heard you lost a close one today.
Now, Jordan Spieth sitting there, one off the lead in his quest to win his third consecutive major championship. Well, you can take us with you, even though your day may take you away from the TV as you head off to work on Watch ESPN, but also there's this coverage for your computer, your tablet, your smartphone. Featured group coverage constantly, all the action at the Road Hole 17, the international view, or our broadcast. You can see it all. Our additional coverage, ESPN3, of the Open Championship. And a lot of those screens filled up with this guy, Jordan Spieth.
For birdie and to join Streb at 6 under par.
This is the link putt that he's better than anybody on tour.
And Andy, that's what he said, talking about the strengths of his game, controlling the pace of his first putt. He said has been his greatest strength during this hot streak, including the 2 major championships.
He keeps lagging him up like that, it'll be a long time before he pops out his first gray hair. He's making it awfully easy on himself.
Now at 11, Brendan Todd, 4 under par as he plays the 11th. And now 5 under par. He joins Goosen and Spieth, 1 behind Streb.
Billy Lingmer's trying to figure out what to do and what direction to go. He's not the first to try to figure this out, I should say.
Well, going in this direction, I mean, there's less of that revetted face, the bunker that you need to go over. But I think it's actually doable to the left. But this is, you're just trying to get out of here with 5 now, Scott.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Billy Paul said earlier, he has to be something. Maybe you see one of those electronic leaderboards, or imagine you're to name atop those famous yellow leaderboards, and you think, wow, I'm 7 under par.
It's a jolt to your system, and you prepare for that. And but when you get there, it's a little bit. It can be shocking to jump out in front like that at an Open Championship or any major.
And that's an interesting look right there, because Lingmer's only 5'7". That bunker isn't as tall, but if you're right up against the face of it, then obviously all you can do is try to figure out some way to get out. He's done that. Don't know that you can be disappointed at 4 under par, but he was once at 7.
And 8th, Dustin Johnson for birdie. He'll remain at 4 under par, 2 behind the leader, Robert Streb. After the travails of David Lingmer and famed Road Hole.
Scott and Paul and Curtis, I have to give him credit, on making that decision. It's been very easy for him with the way that he's played this Edward 9 to just go ahead and take a chance and try to get the ball close to the hole, but it still has all his good thoughts about him and making the smart play.
You see that hole location to the right of your screen is getting a lot of action early in this first round.
This putt right at 50 feet, Scott, and the pre-level should move a little bit to his left at the beginning and then kind of straighten out. It's all about the speed. It's got to go.
2 putt would be good, and he's not done. These grandstands filled early here at the home of golf to 8.
Spieth and Johnson have missed birdie putts, but Matsuyama with the best chance.
You got 2 good looks as well. Ooh.
Terrific
through a few weeks ago in Hartford, and he finds himself in the Open atop the leaderboard, but that man's one back. Jordan Spieth at 9.
Iron off the tee, keeping it short of the bunkers in the fairway.
That's all he needs to do, just keep it out of the bunkers. Either you keep it short or you go ahead and take a crack at the screen, and very few players will do that today with the hurting wind.
Not a hint of a wobble yet to Tiger.
Plenty of wobble from Tiger, Scott. Second into 7.
Short one, but you must be precise.
Well, he talked a lot when he first got over here over the weekend during the practice rounds about how it is not firm and bouncy as usual. Don't see a lot of balls spinning back in the past. We've seen a lot of it today. To 17.
Blingworth. It's all gone wrong. Had a putt for 28 on the way out.
It really had a great chance to shoot 27, Scott.
Well, you're right, Mike. Barely missed on 5, barely missed on 8. To 9, Dustin Johnson. He's got the big bat.
He's got to fit it in between these two bunkers that are in the 300-yard range. Wind hurting. Really looks good.
That's gross.
You think?
I mean, come on.
He's the straightest long driver I've ever seen.
Well, that's saying something, Andy, because I know you've seen some great ones.
That's 332 to the front, and it was nothing for him to be back to 14.
87. And we've, not going to affect it much when you're going back into the wind.
Just listening to the conversation with Carl Peterson, hopped his way up to the leaderboard, dropped a shot up 13. 2 back playing 14 here, and then taken unplayable. Of course, to the right, where Peterson is now caught him. So this will be 4th par 5. Could have been a lot worse. Peterson in this group with Luke Donald, who's also 4 under as he got to 14 here, and Hunter Mahan, 1 behind those two. Speaking of 1 behind, 1 off the lead. Spieth again.
84-34, 118 hole, back into some breeze. Can carry it all the way to the hole, the way the ball's stopping.
Well played. He'll have a putt to join the lead at 6 under par. Strett, the leader. From the center of this fairway. And that's going to require a whole lot of imagination. Back to 9 and Matsuyama.
Even though it's just a 104-yard shot, I always thought this was a little awkward when the pin was so far deep into the screen. It was hard to make yourself hit it all the way back there. Big, round, flat green.
That is a beautiful swing.
Yep, Zinger, that tempo is never different, is it?
Nice. Fun to watch that.
Slightest pause at the top. Beautifully played. That's 7.
Tiger Woods, 3 over through 6 for birdie. Put that in some perspective, there are 78 players on the course right now. Only 1 player has a score higher than Tiger's +3, and that's Rod Pampling, who's 5 over par.
Sounding an awful lot like Chambers Bay, isn't it?
It is, where he went 80-76 and home.
It's almost, you almost want to say, who are you and what have you done with Tiger Woods?
Or is this who he is now, Paul? in 7 years without a major. And he was talking about how happy he was with his play at the Greenbrier 2 weeks ago. He finished 32nd, and he was happy with it.
You know, Sean, everyone wanted to swing like Tiger Woods except Tiger. And these changes, you know, it's like he took his game right into the lab, and boy, that's an experiment that's gone all wrong.
And he keeps saying it's right there, it's right around the corner, I'm making progress, and yet the results don't back it up. To 14.
After taking the unplayable, Peterson for par. Just wiggles off to the right. He'll drop a shot back at 9.
Eagle on the way for Dustin Johnson. And that pace is just right. He'll have that to move to 5 under par.
And that's equally as impressive, if you ask me, Scott, because of the great disaster that he dealt with there at Chambers Bay. For him to come back here is brilliant. Tiger for par.
Mm-hmm. And he was asked at the press conference if Jack Nicklaus's mark of 18 majors was still realistic, and he said, yes, I think it is. It's getting to the point when you wonder if one more major for Tiger is realistic. It certainly isn't with the way he has played for quite a while now. Back to 9.
Andy, this is the flattest green on the golf course.
Yeah, the only movement is basically in this back portion. It's a little bit higher, so this putt is a little bit slow going up the hill. Sometimes these flat greens are more difficult to read because you try to make putts break.
Even the pace with the putter is so deliberate. Just 23 years old. So much talent here.
He's a big guy, too, Scott.
You're right, Paul.
He has the potential to overpower a golf course.
And now, Streb here on 17, and there's really no direct route. It doesn't involve the collar, as you see. Just try to play it up there as close as you can. Again, this road hole is not just the toughest hole here, it's one of the toughest in all of major championship golf. Here on 9. Filling in to surround this green. To look at a young man trying to make some history at a place that's got more of it than anywhere.
You know, Scotty, just absolutely love watching his stroke. He doesn't take a practice stroke. He gets up, gets set, then the left hand low really controls the stroke.
Just by on the left.
Fluid acceleration. Putter is always moving at the hole.
Gives it another look. Whether it's with a putter or driver or irons, you never have to wonder with Jordan. He'll let you know. Often makes us obsolete, providing his own commentary, frankly. Dustin Johnson.
I'd like to see a heart rate monitor on Dustin Johnson and Jordan Spieth. But it doesn't fluctuate much.
The driver made the 2-putt a birdie. And that's the example of what Johnson can do to a golf course. Simply overpowers it. Depending on the wind, Andy, you were suggesting there might be 4 par 4s he could drive.
Yeah, and I think that last hole is a great example of how the two players will attack this golf course. Jordan playing it just short of it, the bunkers, and DJ just blasting over him.
Different routes to the same score through 9 holes, 31, 5 under par. They trail Robert Streb by 1. We wait and wonder when the wind will arrive. Until it does, this golf course can provide very little in the way of defense, and the best in the world are having their way with it. It's round one of the Open from St. Andrews.
Why do we insist on 100% Alaskan whitefish? Why do we always hand dip in our famous batter? Cook it to golden perfection.
Be a heck of a two-putt to remain in the lead, and it is well holed. Streb out in 31, and this will be the story of the day. Go as low as you can on your way out and hold on to every shot you've earned on the way in. We saw Lingmerth could not to 8.
Louis Oosthuizen for birdie. Open champion the last time it was played here in 2010 in a runaway by 7 shots.
And a different look here, Sean. He's gone cross-handed, a recent change. He has struck the ball beautifully to this point, the best of this threesome by far.
We're at 10, the par 4. Dustin Johnson launch.
And it was a launch, Mike, with the driver, and it's going to be about 20 yards short of the green when it stops rolling. With a great angle to chip it up there and make another birdie.
Our first look at 18 after all the difficulties of the road hole 17. It's about 3 steps to that 18th tee, and it just sits right there in front of you. And Streb with a chance to get in the clubhouse at 6 under. Hitting it across the road. Granny Clark's Wind, that road is called. It is not for vehicular traffic, but pedestrians. And during the year when the Open's not being played, there's a sign there that says careful crossing. There are golfers playing both ways, so look both ways truly when you go down that road. Spieth at 10 with an iron.
This is the other way to play this hole. Lay it up well short of the bunkers. Back into a pretty good wind right now. The wind has changed a bit.
So interesting, isn't it, Andy, to watch the two completely different game plans come up with the same result?
And I think that's the beauty of this golf course. You can do it a lot of different ways. You just have to commit to your way.
12.
Bubba Watson on the tee. can possibly get it there.
Curtis, Bill Cratchit made a great point earlier in the break about Bubba Watson. Being left-handed, it'll be more difficult for him to go out
in rather than coming in because of the wind direction.
Good point. And there you see what he has left to 8.
And Tiger Woods for birdie.
So set up by an 8-iron, Sean. They got caught up with the wind just a little.
Here's a stat for you. Tiger's 21 over par in his last 45 holes of major championship golf. That is shocking.
And still looking for his first birdie of the championship. Now it's 16. Retief Goosen second at the par 4. Part of a 4-way tie for second right now, one behind Robert Streb.
Mistakenly earlier said that he...
I think if music is good, people hit the dance floor. And the more they dance, the slower they drink.
Now at 11, Lee Westwood out of the hill bunker. Nicely done for the Englishman, still in search of his first major title. Certainly has great knowledge of this golf course, having played in Opens past and in the Dunhill Links, played here every year. Back to 18 in a nice stroll up to this historic hole for Robert Streb.
Sure is. Won at the start of the wraparound season by winning at Sea Island to get that first tour win. You know, once you get that tour win, you start immediately thinking you're in the Masters. And Streb was still looking forward to that. He was born in Oklahoma and really raised and played his high school golf. Edmond, Oklahoma, a great golf area for many years. Good longevity of tour pros there. I had hoped to go to Oklahoma or Oklahoma State. They're terrific, both terrific programs, but especially the Cowboys in Stillwater. Not recruited there. Goes to Kansas State, where he plays his golf. And that's how he's come to call Shawnee, Kansas home. It's been a big year. First child born, first Masters, first opportunity at the Open Championship, and a chance to host 66. As he waits at 18, let's check in on Bubba.
And the long pitch, second shot for Bubba at the par 4. Up the hill there. Just gave it way too much. One of the shots we just don't play very often in the States. And when you come over here, you have to hit many of them just to get the feel. Now back over to Tim.
Hey.
Yep, exactly.
What'd that carry? 40?
43. Yep.
They're talking about the ridge that's just short of the hole. Ideally, you'd like to land the ball right about the hole, let it release past a little bit. Anything short could come off the green.
Once you get past that ridge, the green trickles just gradually away.
Sit down, ball. Sit down.
Like to be quiet. Those two guys do the whole show for you like Bones and Phil do. Maybe the dream last pairing for announcers. Just sit back and have a drink and watch them. They're great.
It's no announcer's dream when you can't talk. Let's be
for the audience and the producers, right? Exactly. Matsuyama's second shot now, Andy. You just
a little over 100 yards, thank you. He should be able to spin this. The wind is picking up a bit out of the right.
Watching Dustin Johnson way up there after that driver sneak in for his look at his shot as Matsuyama's going to spin it back and off.
And that's exactly what Andy North warned about. And again, it's the importance of being dialed in with your short clubs. We've seen Tiger, miss repeatedly in his distance control. And there's an example of what will happen to you if you did that here.
As they construct a building between Dustin's tee shot and the others, we come back to 18 and Streb's second. Again, the famous quality here, the Valley of Sin, that the players have to avoid going back into. Thus, you'll see many shots past the hole here today at 18, and all week for that matter. Here's Johnson second at the par 4.
Because of his angle, he could actually bounce the ball up that slope. Beautiful play. That's it. There again, it's another example of how your length can be used to help you.
I think I said it before, even back in the day of Nicklaus, when Jack was the longest, and he won here at St. Andrews, and you go through the John Daly championships, and when Tiger was winning here, he was the longest player in the field. They overpowered the golf course, took it over all the trouble, and if your wedges and your game around the green is good, you got a great chance to be great. The American A team, Dustin Johnson, Jordan Spieth, right in the center of the drama at the last major. Same group today, 9 holes, 500 both. Put themselves right back in position again. Coverage, it's noon here. British summertime, 7 a.m. on the East Coast, 6 in Chicago, and welcome back to the Open Championship here on ESPN. Mike Tirico, Paul Azinger sitting up here overlooking the old RNA Clubhouse in the 18th hole. Curtis Strange, Scott Van Pelt, Sean McDonough watching from the towers as well. Two-time U.S. Open champion Andy North, Billy Kratzer, Dottie Pepper walking with the players on this cool day. We'll hear from Tom Rinaldi, start talking to some of the finishers in a bit. And J.R. Jones, our friend from the Rules Committee of the R&A, joins us for any rules questions we need to sort out. Slate gray, overcast skies as we hit lunchtime here in the UK. It'll stay this way. The chances of rain will increase, so too will the wind. We're expecting a lot of rain and a lot more wind as the week progresses. But the conditions have been good, allowed people to get off to a good start. Here is Jordan Spieth, 5 under through the first 9. The winner of the first 2 majors for birdie at 10. And that'll be about the longest second putt he's had to make through the first 9 holes. It's been typical Spieth, a game mostly in control, on his marks throughout. The wayward shot on his 2nd to 9 there was the worst that he's probably hit so far. This is our leader, 28-year-old Robert Streb.
Played a sensible shot, taking the Valley of Sin out of play.
That was earlier, his attempt for birdie. So a closing par for Streb. Paul will be a round of 6 under par, 66. With Spieth, Dustin Johnson, Brendan Todd, who like Streb has had a good year. Retief Goosen had to qualify his way and all one back. Luke Donald, who only qualified because of his finish in Hartford a few weeks ago. The guy who so often we've seen in the world rankings very high, but he slipped out. He had to find another way in to this championship that means the most. Jordan Nieberge, the amateur, born in Wisconsin, 2 off the pace. Charles Schwartzel, Masters champion. Bubba Watson, multiple Masters champ. You'll see a lot of under par scores early on because of the weather conditions. That is the tradition of St. Andrews. It continues here. Johnson for a share of the lead. And Dustin Johnson overpowering the last few holes as he has been completely in control there in the loop. He takes the lead at 6 under par. Let's go to Scott Van Pelt at 9.
And Paul Lawrie, who's had 1 top 20 finish in this championship, and he made it count. The famed Carnoustie debacle for Vandervelde in the playoff, and Lawrie hasn't had much form. It's like the magic sometimes clicks in, and it certainly has for him. He's out in 31, 5 under par to 16.
Retief Goosen for birdie to join Streb and Johnson at 6 under.
And this is birdie putt for Luke Donald. Let's finish here. A couple of 5th place finishes. A 37-year-old slips by on the right. The 10.
And Jordan Spieth for par.
Mistake for the start. For Spieth,
3 pars in a row after 3 birdies in a row, and Jordan Spieth 1 off the lead. Well, Paul, we've been going at this here for 3 hours. Any surprises in what you've seen, the way things have played out so far?
Well, not really. I actually looked like the scores were going to be a lot lower, the way they started, Mike. And the second 9 coming in is clearly, does what it always does. It takes the players and really challenges them. The wind direction changes. It's right to left going out, and it's left to right coming back. And that's hard on a right-handed player. So it's the way it always is. I love the fact that Dustin Johnson's been able to put the U.S. Open behind him.
Yes.
It takes a lot of courage to do that. And he's done that. And then for Jordan Spieth to be so composed to come out here and play the way he's played with all the pressure and all the spotlight on him has been unbelievably impressive.
Half the field, a little bit more than half the field out there. A few groups have finished, the first 4 groups. And Tiger Woods is second to last right now. His iron play was not dialed in. This is not anything different than we saw at Chambers Bay, and Woods thought his performance in West Virginia at the Greenbrier a few weeks ago would give him some confidence, coming back to what he says is his favorite golf course, and there's been none of that on display for his first 8 holes.
And remarkably, I mean, he's not 4 over because he's hitting it sideways. He's 4 over because he has 0 distance control. He's hit a couple of bad shots, but for the most part, there's no distance control. He's mishit some shots. He hasn't made any putts. All the things. And on this golf course, you have to do 3 things well. You have to drive it well, you have to hit your wedges well, and you have to make some putts. And that's what Dustin Johnson's done, and that's what Spieth's done. All the leaders have done that. And that was Tiger's strength for years, Mike. It's hard to watch the greatest player of this generation be in the middle of the pack
hack almost, you know.
Bottom of the tour pros out here, world rank outside of 200. So right over Paul's shoulder, right about over here is the R&A Clubhouse. That's the home of golf, where so many of the rules of the game are made. And these famous golf links for over 500 years has seen the world's best. And great to be back here one more time to watch the Open Championship. And we can do something here this year. So I think if I go this way, we've got this little joystick here. We can move. So we are now moving. Our entire set rotates around with the North Sea behind us. See, the clubhouse is now moving past Paul. We thought we were going to put it over here near Paul, but there's not a chance in the world.
You didn't want the camera crew hanging off the sides.
And if you look at our window, you can see that we are rotating around. And from our view of the 1st, the 18th, and the R&A Clubhouse, we'll rotate this baby around, and we'll have the road hole behind us. So we get not just the best look in golf, but 2 of the best looks in golf in one booth.
It's cool. Sweet. It's cool. I wish I had that joystick right here, buddy. I can tell you.
We're going to keep it over there throughout. But the road hole always plays such a key and significant role in this championship over the years. And already we've seen players come to the road hole bunker and find themselves in a little bit of trouble. And that road sitting behind it as well will make it difficult for the players as the week goes through.
We don't need Jason Day up here.
With him spinning around?
Add to his vertigo. Yeah.
So we'll go back to golf, but for those of you who proved I couldn't walk and talk at the same time, I just did.
Yes.
211 and our co-leader, Sean.
One of the few times you could actually reach all the pedals while you were driving, Mike. Dustin Johnson's shot at 11. We should point out that does not make noise as it spins around, so as to be a distraction to the players. We're nearby on the 17th green and 18th tee. And as Paul said, a strong performance by Dustin Johnson. He said the other day that what happened at Chambers Bay was behind him, and he's backed that up. Now Jordan Spieth, 165 yards with the flagstick only 5 paces off the left, protected by that big hill.
And this is a brand new hole location in the back left. Over the last few years, they've tried to soften the slope on this back left-hand side, but players are seeing it for the first time, but the wind is helping from right to left, so you can get back there.
This is the most dangerous shot the players have faced to this point. Oh, what a brave effort. That should come back.
And it does. Will it reach the surface? It did. Very good shot. Let's send you down to Tom Rinaldi.
Thanks very much with our co-leader, Robert Streb. I just have to start, Robert. How does that sound? Co-leader of the Open Championship.
That's interesting, but happy to be there, happy to be done. So it was a good round of golf.
Interesting. Why that word?
I don't know. Didn't really expect it, I guess, but been playing good and kept it going today.
So much talk about Jordan Spieth and his lack of familiarity with the course. You haven't even been to Europe before in your life.
No.
So how would you explain how well you did, considering you basically played a handful of holes at 8 holes, and 18 here before teeing it up in competition?
I was pretty excited about it. I didn't really know what to expect. Never played golf quite like you do over here, so we'll see what the next couple of days had to hold at the Wynn, but really excited with my start.
We've seen a big difference, Robert, between heading out and turning around and coming in. How would you characterize the difference in the challenges out versus in?
Going out, you got the wind down off your right, which is pretty helpful for a right-handed golfer, and all the way in off your left. So makes it a little tougher, a little longer coming in, but hopefully you can get your damage done on the way out.
Hope you get some rest, Mike. Robert said he was still struggling a little bit with jet lag. If he plays this well with jet lag, we can only see what will happen when he's fully acclimated here to the time change. Well done, Robert.
Thank you.
Mike?
Yeah, play late on the weekend, maybe some extra sleep, a later tee time. Pacific Life first round highlights. Let's take you through.
And Dustin Johnson from just off the back of the screen for birdie and a chance to take the outright lead.
This is a very, very fast putt that he has. Very much like the one he had at the 72nd hole U.S. Open. Just has to get started down the hill.
And Andy, because of what happened here in 2010 with the wind delay, and this is at the center with the balls moving after they were placed down. This green at 11 actually plays a touch slower than the rest by design. Gordon McKee, the superintendent, told us most of the greens will be right around 10. This one probably right around 9.5.
This is the most exposed portion of the golf course, and the wind might blow 15 miles an hour harder at this end than back at 1 and 18.
Tap in for par. On putts from below the hole or a hole high, we've seen many come up short. Perhaps because of that slight difference in the green speed here at 11 relative to the others. 217.
This will be a heck of a 4 for Kevin Na. He was hoping all the way, wasn't he?
He pulled the string.
Yeah. That's well done for Kevin Na. Clean card, which is something Tiger cannot say of his start thus far.
Second and 10, Dodge.
Well, he's had a difficult time getting the ball back to the hole today, only twice. And that won't get any better from there.
Well, Tiger's hit 3 of the first 10 greens in regulation. 4 actually of the first 10 greens in regulation. That's not very good.
He's at 1, 2, 5, 7, 40 on the way out for Tiger. No birdies so far. Back to Speed.
For birdie and to move into a tie for the lead.
Such great rhythm. Same timing. Gets up over and hits it. Doesn't waste a lot of time.
Six birdies and 11 holes for the 21-year-old Jordan Spieth.
Just try to get short and to the right of that flag if you can.
Settle down.
Oh, no.
Well, he ends up finding there are 3 different options there, as you can clearly see. A bit like Neapolitan ice cream.
Very good.
And he found a little narrow patch of grass to 18.
What a day. Jordan D. Brugge for birdie here to shoot 67. What an outstanding round. Senior to be rising senior, Oklahoma State. 3 times an honorable mention All-America. You see a little bit of history there. Lowest round by an AM, the Open at St. Andrews. Equaling that with a terrific 67. Man won the U.S. Amateur Pub Links. They got him into the Masters in 2014. Didn't have a good showing there, but what a debut at the Open Championship for the 21-year-old. 10. And Day's second. Jason Day and Louis Oosthuizen went out 7 shots better than Tiger. They shot 33. Tiger shooting 40. You can see from the plane above a little bit of moisture on the lens. Dottie mentioned a bit of a summer shower coming in. You call 55 degrees summer. 12:20 Eastern Time over on ESPN2 today on SportsCenter. Les Miles, football coach at LSU, going to drop by as SportsCenter set has been at SEC Media Days for a good part of this week. About 7 weeks from toe meets leather in college football season getting underway. SEC Media Day, SportsCenter coverage from down there later on today. Back at 10 Tiger.
One of the steepest upslopes on the entire golf course here.
Not perfectly judged. That putt can get away from you back up that hill.
Here's a look at the tee shot at 17, Scott. Really cool.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it. We had Peter Thompson here, 5-time champ. I'll quote him. As a planner and builder of golf holes worldwide, I have no hesitation in allowing that if one built such a hole today, you'd be sued for incompetence.
You mean that hotel on your line?
Something like that. The house in the way of the green.
Yeah.
Play it over course in Old Course Hotel.
We went for the cut shot, it looks like. Trying to play safe, take out of bounds, out of play, and he's done it well.
Sean's referenced Gordon McKee, the greenskeeper, who was very kind to share some time with us in explaining that rough that is out there on the left-hand side of that fairway, not nearly as penalizing as it was in years past, not as dense at the bottom.
Yeah, you talk about taking your left there, Scott, right?
Yeah, that's not the desired line.
No, that's to the left rough. 12.
348 yards. Dustin Johnson.
He can get it there. Looks like it's sliding. Yeah, no problem. Just a lot of hard par threes out here for him.
Easy. Let's see where this stops, though. Well, just about 4 paces off the green, but there you see what's in front of him. Not too sure he can skirt by the slope. Let's take a look at this short par 4, but how tricky it can be if the wind blows out of the left a little stronger. Stroke bunker isn't in play unless the wind really blows in their face. A lot of players will work sometimes short of the 250 bunker. And if they get by that, apparently only 17 yards wide. And there you see the last good hazard. As round a bunker as it ever was, just running it at 17 yards short of the green. Now speed. He will lay up probably to the right. Just because the hole is left. And he'll catch the rough, but still not a bad play.
Actually, it's a curious decision because he brought that second group of bunkers in play.
It is. But I think playing the way he has to play, unlike Jordan Spieth will go from point A to point B to point C. It's working so far.
ESPN's presentation of the Open, brought to you by McDonald's.
For a rounder, smoother taste, we travel 6,000 miles to find just the right wood for our casks. All seems a bit unnecessary, doesn't it? Until, of course, you taste the whiskey.